Oh my god. Oh my god. They gave some buffs to 3 units in the recent batch of SP potential unlocked, okay? So this seems to be a trend that's going to continue forward, and I hope you guys are doing very good today because we have some pretty good buffs to talk about. When I mentioned it on stream, I said they were bad, and honestly, the reason is because I was translating it on Google Translate at like 2 a.m. in the morning. And like, I was reading that shit quick as hell. And honestly, I did not give it the proper time to read through. And yeah, no, these buffs are kind of insane. So we're going to go through the 3 buffs today, being red Nobara, green Saki, and blue Jogo. This is the first time a free-to-play unit's been buffed. Well, yeah, basically. And he's been double buffed recently. So it's actually going to look pretty good for him. So let's get into it. Nobara is the craziest buff by far. Now, as of right now, the tier list is in a bit of shambles, if I'm being honest, because one of the wiki moderators did a little April Fool's joke and decided to put Muta in this spot. So, you know, we're going to have to kind of just act as if this isn't ranked and just give them of overall like rankings. So Nobara right now is probably either below or above green UG. That's how crazy she became. At this current point in time, people were rating her in B. I don't have many opinions on her like without the SP buff, but with the SP buff, she is easily like top S or bottom SS. So let's get into what exactly changed. So we already know kind of how she works. So she gives 3 nail counts on this, okay? And this is actually pretty good. Being able to lower the enemy's Jujutsu damage is pretty nice in, like, just as addition, especially because a lot of Jujutsu floors are being released, right? So you put 3 nail counts each, and then the skill 2 is an AoE for 1 nail count. Okay, and then this also increases their damage received with pretty high crit damage, all things considered. And that kind of plays into the skill 3. So the skill 3 with the buffed version, right, the post adjustment, now has a base of 217% damage increase, and then it does 376% damage to enemies with nail count. So essentially, if you put 1 AoE, then it becomes an AoE attack. Now with more nail counts, it goes up to a 942% damage increase. But the problem is it's 50 cursed energy, and it's just always 50 cursed energy. Now then, what they decided to do was essentially lower the amount of cursed energy depending on how many nail counts there are. So on average, when you're actually attacking, it's going to be either 25 or 40 cursed energy from what I've seen, which is a lot better than 50. Even if it might not seem like much, it ends up being quite big. Now then, you can see the damage amount does not change, but what they do add is a lot of good shit. So let's talk about it. Number 1, they add alt gauge for 3 turns. Now, why this is so crazy is because it's going to allow you to kind of rotate it in and out, because you're going to be able to use your skill 3 pretty much almost every 3 turns with the alt. Obviously, maybe sometimes it won't be a perfect 3 turns, but you should be able to get this quite often to kind of just keep up almost 100% uptime. If not, it's going to be about like 66% uptime, right? So it's looking pretty good. Now, they increased the base damage by, I think, 24%, which is not that crazy, but it also does increase the enemy's Jujutsu damage received. And if you have 6 nail counts, up to an extra 25%, which is a big buff, even if you don't like consider it, because there's already up to like maybe like a 500% damage increase with even like this little bit of 24% extra, but then you're getting up to another 25, right? So it's really good. Then you remove the nail counts. So essentially the main things that they added for the skill 3 is lowering the CE, increasing the amount of damage you do, and giving ult charge, which does play very well with her. And the reason is as such. So before, when she did Black Flash on ult, which remember, it's a guaranteed Black Flash, right? Guaranteed Black Flash. She would get 45% Jujutsu. Now they decided to also add another 25%. So this is going to allow you to combo in for the ult, right? Do a pretty high amount of damage. Then after that, also have your skill 3 do more and also be able to do it more. And then kind of rotate the ult back in quicker, right? So this is honestly going to play very, very well. Even if it's just 15%, it's 15% for 3 turns. So it is genuinely pretty good. So I would say this Nobara was done quite justice, especially with how high her skill 3 damage is. It's insane. So yeah, Red Nobara, if you did get her or like got her on standard, sometime in like August, I'd say, to September, probably August, she's gonna be getting buffed on global, so this is huge. Now next up, Saki. So Saki, honestly, I mean, it's not the craziest buffs, but it's definitely very good. As of right now, she is currently in B tier. I'd probably put her like somewhere in A or S. I'm not really too sure, but let's read it again so I can have it fresh in my mind. So essentially, she is basically someone who wants to take damage, get low HP, and then this is every turn, right? You can get this 180% damage increase for Taijutsu and Jujutsu, which is very, very good. The thing is, her stats are quite low. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even trust the stats anymore, man. I do not. But let's just kind of check it out. So the first thing that actually, no, we're gonna start with the passive. So before, we're gonna need yeah, we're gonna have it because it's so long. We're gonna do it like this. So before, she had revival status, damage reduction if at the start of each turn if she was below 60% HP, and then the lower that goes up to 40%, and then if she's below 35 she gets 50% damage reduction for 3 turns, and then when she revives she gets attack nullification. Now the thing is, when she's very low, like let's say she's at like 10 or 20% HP, she's literally probably going to be close to like 70 or 80% damage reduction without anything else. Now if you count someone like Domain Gojo, that's pretty much you're taking 0 damage. So it's pretty good in terms of the damage reduction for a DPS because of the fact that she has revival status and also attack nullification. Now what they decided to add was that for every time she gets attacked, she's getting 17% Taijutsu and Jujutsu extra, right? And this is crazy because like after what 9 hits, I think 9 times 17 is 153. So after 9 hits you get the max amount, right? Which is really huge. But then if you're below 35 it actually doubles. So if you're below 35, well bro, you are going to be doing some pretty good damage. Now you might think like, oh, but she's gonna have to like get lucky while getting hit, but no, that's not true, because they made it to her skill 2, which is 15 cursed energy, not only increases her taijutsu damage, but now is also going to taunt. So it's going to taunt the selected enemy for 2 turns, which is huge. And they made it that the taijutsu buff is now 20% instead of 16 for 4 turns. So essentially, you could just skill 2, skill 2, and then you could then ult once you're low enough, which is huge because her ult is about 1100 with up to a 40% damage increase. So if you're low enough, well, you're going to have up to like a 300% damage increase, which because it's all taijutsu increase, it's going to be pretty good because that's going to multiply against damage buffs and also against taijutsu and jujutsu debuffs. So she's pretty good. Like right now, I would say she's probably better than most in A. Just like eyeballing it, I would say so. So I mean, she's probably high A to S. That's like kind of my guess. Saki is looking a lot better. The taunt is nice, and why the taunt is nice is because now she's actually like one of the best options in specialist. Like if we're gonna put her now, she's in specialist in like high S or like low SS, which is insane, right? Because this taunt is very easy to keep up because it's 15 cursed energy, but more than that, right? Sure, she's going to sacrifice 10% HP, but that's actually really good for her because it's going to get her lower in the like in her lower HP, which is then going to get her closer to the 180% taijutsu jujutsu. And then the lower she gets, also by the way, getting 10% damage reduction, which might not seem like much, but considering that she gets another 10% here, up to 40% with being below 35, another 50, and then a revival status and attack nullification, it's like she's going to be able to do a lot of good stuff, take a lot of hits while doing damage. So like on green as a tank slash sub DPS, oh my, she's gonna be pretty good. And if you want to run her main DPS, I think it's a possibility. While not the best, while requiring some RNG, it's still a possibility. Now, next up, Jogo. So what we're gonna do is talk about the actual buffs first, what they buffed, and then the SP buffs, because there was 2 sets of buffs. They actually buffed them. So let's kind of get into this. So you see here that, let me just get everything ready. Okay, so here it is. Nothing changed there. All right, I think they didn't change anything. All right, so we can see here right now that he's just doing damage, but then afterwards they decide to add also a burn with up to 70% damage, which might not seem like a crazy amount, but because it's like for 3 turns, right, like you could kind of stack these and do like little chip damage, so it does increase his damage while not being the craziest amount. It does increase it. Even for this one, you'll see here it's the same damage amount, but it also does add the dot, right? And then up to 70% if you had 60 cursed energy, which actually plays into very well with his SP boost, boost, which you'll see. And then here it does increase his damage and then also lowers the cursed energy requirement by 5, which is very good, like actually very good. The thing is, it's just odd how it's like one random enemy. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that type of thing, but you know, it is what it is. And then the ult, I don't think changed. So now that's kind of it. And now the buffs actually did prove to be pretty good, especially with the SP buff, where you can see here now, his ult is doing a bit more, and it actually does the domain for 5 turns. Now you could say that, oh, but now that it's 5 turns, he's getting his ult less quick, but it's fine because what they actually did decent buffs to where, well, I mean, okay, crit rate is basically not changed, damage not changed. They do damage reduction not changed, but they give him 80 CE instead of 60, but then also give him a 15% more Jujutsu, and then give him another 10. Adding additional effects into following skill while domain is active, Ghost Lights, which, am I tweaking, is skill 1. So if you use the skill 1 while domain is active, you're getting Jujutsu damage by 15% for 3 turns. So you could stack the skill 1 twice, get a bunch of CE, then use the skill 3 for the most damage, or the skill 2, actually, sorry, the skill 2. So then you use skill 1 twice, which is going to make him get the extra 15%, and more CE, and then you use the skill 2, right, for more damage 3 turns, which is going to be pretty good. Now then afterwards, they also changed this passive, which is the Essence of Curses, where he gets 10, if curse CE is 10 or below, he gets 10 CE up to 3 times. Now, first of all, they added a dodge, 15% dodge, which is okay, but not like insane. But when you combo that with a 30% damage reduction, it's not bad. But then what they also added is increase his own damage stuff by 10%, and then the more CE up to 30%, which is basically you're always going to be up to that after your ult, which is good. And then you still get the 10 CE. So he's looking a pretty good amount better because it's going to allow you to get 2 of these skill 1 stacks with the burn on it, and then you're with the skill 1, it's going to give 2 extra Jujutsus. Then you're going to have the extra 30% damage here, right? Which is huge. And then hopefully you're going to have this, but I don't know. I wish it was like just permanent this, but it is what it is. And then you're able to go into the skill 2, which while being 400, being like, it's okay. I mean, it's whatever. But then you're also going to do that skill 2 with an extra 200% crit rate, extra damage. And yeah, no, it's going to be pretty good. So like he's looking pretty decent now. I mean, like, I'd say he's around the S tier range, but I have to use him myself. But I definitely say he's looking pretty decent overall. Obviously, I haven't used any of these units. I'm probably going to get Nobara up first, but definitely really big. I'm honestly really happy with all of these buffs. I'd say Nobaras are by far the best. These are decent buffs, but next up, I would like... who would I like? So my personal opinions on who I would want is Red Yuji, because he'd genuinely become like middle SS range if they buff him. Like, bro, he has such a good kit to buff. Like, if they give crit damage here, I don't think they've done a buff skill yet, but if they give him crit damage here, that could be insane. Besides that, like, well, they could give him more here, right? They could give him more here. So when he does a Black Flash, he increases Taijutsu by 40% for 4 turns. Well, what if they increase it to like 100%? Or something like that. Now, I guess you could stack this, I believe. I haven't used them too much, I will admit. But definitely, like, either increase ult damage or just give him more damage increases, and, like, he'll be insane, right? He really will. Like, he's just able to do so much stuff, and no, he's definitely, he's got the potential, especially with Red Mai. Like, he could just use his skill 3, and like, you could maybe run Kaido, give him CE, kill Kaido, and then have your team ready, like for what's it called, sweep. Like, he's gonna be such an insane unit in the future. I cannot wait. And besides that, I actually think Kamo has a really good shot at being very good, because his ult is already quite strong, right? Especially because his buff skill is insanely good, right? Because you could run this, and you're getting CE when you use this, but he's able to give himself, like, what, damage increase special, Jujutsu damage, 38% for 5 turns, right? CE for 5 turns. And you could just start stacking this at a certain point, then you get some damage, damage dealt, Jujutsu damage, and some damage reduction. So the damage reduction is actually going to play quite a huge role overall. And then he has a pretty good AoE skill with those buffs, but what he needs is like maybe just a little more damage or like an extra passive. He doesn't have a passive, right? When flowing red skill state deactivates, increases own damage. I wish we knew what it was exactly, but I would say that if they increase his buff skill or just give him like an insane ult, bro, this combo could actually be really good because he has really nice buffs. And besides that, I'd really like Green Maki. Okay, Green Maki would be insane because she has a very good base where her ult, the higher her HP is going to be very good. Maybe if she like heals for like 10% every turn, like she'd be crazy. I'd say so. Like 10% every turn. And then they could also make it, what else could they do? Maybe increase like the skill 3, or would you, yeah, maybe increase the skill 3 to give taijutsu or something. I think if they give taijutsu on the skill 3 and make her heal more, and then also alongside the heal make these damage numbers bigger, like she could actually be pretty good. Like that's my guess for like the 3 units. I feel like we'll get some in April. If we get another unit, I kind of feel like Junpei's up for the running. The main reason is because like after that, who are you gonna buff? Like, who are you gonna buff, right? What, like, you're gonna do an SP buff for Blue Gojo, right? Like, you're gonna do one for Momo? You're gonna do one for Yuta? Like, that's not happening, right? That's not happening. So, I personally think maybe Hanami could be a really cool buff. I don't know if they will, but I want to talk about Junpei. I think that what they could do for Junpei is you could make him do more damage, but also you could lean into the support more. So, there's a lot of ways they could go with that. But no, honestly, really good buffs. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.